And all you, Trish.
I will welcome everyone, and we confirm that Emily's on to take minutes.
I don't think she's listening, but she'll go back to the recording.
Okay.
That's
So,
what was hearing.
all right, so, the first order of business would be to approve the minutes, which we don't have, so we'll have to table that to our next meeting, and we'll approve the July and the September and the November minutes.
Yes.
No, we approved the July minutes last month. We will have September and November to approve, so we should make that note. Do we are there any citizens or members of the public that would like to comment?
We have. Let's see, two. We have one participant. Penny, do you have anything for public comment at this point?
No, but thank you.
Thank you.
And probably on a backtrack, just for the purposes of, anyone who might listen afterwards, if everyone just wants to go quickly around the room and say your name. And that you're here. And we'll start with that.
Alex Marshall.
Ellen Coughlin Quinn.
Amanda Doherty,
Karen Hugh, my cousin, who is on.
Rick Murphy.
Chris Brigham.
Art Tillman.
Roger Shabbat.
Okay, so welcome, everyone. We have no citizens' comments. Again, I think this agenda is off. I think one of the first things we were gonna talk about is beach fees.
Yeah, when I click on your link, Trish, this is what it brings me to.
The same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so well, you don't have to save them, do you? No, I don't
Yeah,
know.
beach
what happened.
Well, good.
Okay, so I know that we had beach fees on there. So everyone had updated the Google Sheet. Thank you for doing that. And, I think we've got a printout of that. All the different, and I tried to summarize it. For the most part, there was consensus. There were a few different. There was some variation. And Todd, you would like a recommendation ideally, right?
Yeah, and I can give you some quick feedback. I did speak with my beach manager and beach staff about some of the items where you guys on your sheet had either or. And then as I said, I would, can I finish it with that? Did some modeling on the numbers.
Thank you.
Just so you don't, to see, so, when the sheet that Trish had sent out on beach fees and hours thoughts. They like the idea of consistent times and across the beaches. Cause on your notes, you had 5:30 to 5 or 6 to 6, again, 5:30 AM to 5:30 PM. It's a half an hour less than it was before, but at least those times are consistent.
Yeah.
That's easy to remember for somebody going to the beach.
Sorry, what is it now?
Right now, it's 5:30 AM to 6 with 3 different pay structures depending on what time you go.
Right.
So the first thing on your summary of thoughts was hours, and so they like the idea of consistency. Their recommendation was just be really consistent and say 5:30 AM to 5:30 PM. Was one of their thoughts. They like the flat fee. And they prefer on the operational side to pick one fee and have that regardless of holiday or weekends, just for sheer educational purposes and signage. And so that was their thought, and it was also just because on the operational side, when you have $30, that means you have to have a $10 bill around. And so it's more change, a higher volume to make that change, and so, before I get off of that, the sheet that I gave you, that spreadsheet that has the rainbow colors on it. Just to review the modeling for you quickly. Again, the top one is 2024 beach season at 5, 15, 35 and plus at 45. All the way across shows you how much revenue each beach brought in, and then underneath going up and down is the totals of each type of pass. Totaling for beaches, day fees, $298,120. When you go down below, you can see on the spreadsheet, I just put $20 all the way across the top. And change the bus to 50 as you had recommended. And you can see those new numbers. We jump up to 525 in revenue projections without a $30 weekend pass. So again, those are just off of last year's numbers. It doesn't mean that we're going to get the same amount of early morning passes if we're charging 20 at that time. But I think some of these decisions are gonna come from your recommendation based on the philosophy you want, you know? You talked about limiting the amount of non-resident passes to about the number we had this year, which theoretically lets more spaces for residents and gives them a priority, and that was one of your goals. You know, if somebody is you know, we're not restricting use, people just have to choose as a valuable to them. I know when we did this a couple years ago, the surfers got mad because they wanted to pay $5 to go surf in the morning. And when you added up how many times they had to go for $150 beach pass, it was a lot of surfing days. But when the fee's $20, that surfing day, you go 7 times. On the 8th time, I'm buying a pass, right? Or I should have bought a pass to begin with, and so prices and policy dictate who's important and who to use it, and so those type of things, I think help you manage what's going on. And if somebody, we're not saying you can't come, but we're saying this is what it costs, and this is what the operation is. And, you know, talking to my staff, the 2 biggest users of the beaches, and it's not a bad thing, it's just reality is, and they usually paid the least, were non-resident early morning users. One, they either didn't pay because there's nobody there, and we don't have fully blown rangers or reserves to monitor the lots. So either they're coming to use ferry to watch their dog, walk their dog, go to the bathroom, take a dog bag and throw the poop out for nothing, or $5. Or they're coming to surf, great, for free, or $5, taking a hot shower, packing their stuff up and leaving. So that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense of what it is. And so when people buy season passes, it commits to the organization. It commits to say, I appreciate it's a value to me. So those are, I think, some of the things you guys need to discuss on. Because I'm looking at Karen directly, whenever you put forward and whenever the council talks about in first or second read, you're gonna get all those groups calling to say, that's not fair to me. And so being able to justify it and what the cause and effect is. And again, it's about, in my mind, putting residents first, everybody paying their fair share. And I can't argue with that. If, you know, if I'm a resident, I'm paying 40 and I'm getting to use the beach more, that's our job. And then also providing access. Sorry, Ken, go ahead.
I have a question, and I know that you guys have discussed this thoroughly, but I always hear it around us. I mean, that is a big hike for the morning. I like it.
Yep.
What do the people around us who are charging do? Do they have are they?
We went
lower in
through
the
it.
morning?
Yeah,
We have a spreadsheet that we went through.
Yeah.
Each town, we filled it out and we looked at it.
so
And we
is
didn't
that-
think this was out of,
no, we were actually less.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm getting at, is like, I feel like. We're,
I think we were
We
way
found-
lower.
We were,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
I
we-
think we might have even had a shorter. season.
well, and it sounds like your staff wants it to be 20 all day. And I think that's the other question I have is, do other towns, are they just flat all day, or are they consistently kind of breaking up by time periods? Because obviously.
they're flat all day.
I think they're flat all day.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you look at Crescent, it's obviously state, but you're still paying, it's
That's what
flat
I'm
rate.
thinking about, is the state stuff, it doesn't matter when you show up, it's
Right.
flat all day, it's flat every
Or
day.
it's a whole other system that's an hourly basis, which
Right.
is a whole nother view.
And is that, will another compelling argument, does that help your staff?
Well, it helps our staff because it's easy, you know. Here's what they deal with. Somebody's waited in line for 20 minutes to find a spot at the beach. They go up there. They didn't know it was $30 because it was a Saturday. Or it was only on certain Saturdays of the month, you know, or the time of season, you know. People get mad, you know what I mean? And so having a consistent number that's just, and if it's financially sound for the operation. I mean, you can see that last year. We brought in just under 556 and our operation cost us 463. So money will be going to the reserve at the end of the audit, you know what I mean? And it'll go up higher if you change your fee structure. So we're covering our operational costs. There's probably room to have discussion with council next budget cycle about funding other staff within the operation budget, 'cause it's self-funding. And so this is a way to, fund the positions that I think we're gonna be asked to continue to fund, increase rangers, increase reserves. The users are using it. We're charging our residents fairly. And then it's just the cost of doing business, you know, and then if there's money left over, it goes to reserve. So projects this year, it's not on the agenda, but I'll give you a quick 5-minute summary, Trish, whenever you want, but
It is, I think.
Yeah.
Supposed to be on the agenda.
Herd Park Gate, Herd Park Walkway, Herd Park Trolley Stop, and, the Herd Park Machine are all funded through the reserve account. So those are being all funded by user dollars, not taxpayer dollars in this year's budget. So that's how that's supposed to work. So that model is working. And those projects are all underway. Striping was the other one. And seal coating was the fourth project that would be funded out of beach reserve. So that's where it's going to.
So our reasoning in terms of presenting is that we're less and or competitive with other communities. It's easier for the staff.
Yeah.
It allows funding for reserve for improvements, and it gives somewhat some preferential treatment to residents, but not blatant.
Yeah, I don't, again, it was 50 and 30 on a weekend. You know what I mean?
It's gonna make it easier signage wise, less confusing for the
Mhm.
customer
Right.
too.
Right.
It's like, we've met down at Herd Park last week with my staff and they've got tasks to work on over the winter, but. You know, the things we've done is about pedestrian safety, about traffic flow and improving signage and. They've been tasked to update signage, you know, work on videos to educate people, so when it's time to roll this out in April, they are ready. And that's why getting whatever council's gonna approve.
Yeah.
Done by February is huge, so we have
Yeah.
time to make signage. Create the marketing videos, tell people why we did something, where they're gonna walk. Reach out to all the rec departments and trolley companies that use the parking lot, like, hey. This is where the new trolley stop is, you will park here, walk here, the bus will go somewhere else to park. Let your drivers know when you register to come,
Yeah.
like. We can give people all that education ahead of time. So,
And the people who are gonna be the most upset about this are non-residents, so we have to just keep that in mind. They might be loud when they call in. But they're not residents, and that's part of our goal here is.
But that's, I hate to say it, but it's the trend. I mean.
Yeah.
Look at Fort Williams,
Right,
you know, I mean, it's, yeah.
Well, it's not where I hear a lot of these people from out of town. It's Higgins Beach is known to those people coming in with dogs early in the morning as a dog park. That's gotta stop. It isn't a dog park. It's park for the general public to use and not have to worry about. Because it is full in a lot of mornings by 5:30 in the morning in the summertime.
Okay,
It's really amazing.
so who
So-
presents this to the town
well, I was
council?
just gonna say, so I think, am I hearing agreement on 5:30 AM to 5:30 PM? Flat fee, $20 regardless of day, holiday, whatever.
I think 20 is too low if you look at these other towns. I mean, I know we're trying to simplify it, but as I scroll through this, Biddeford is $35. Algonquin is 40.
Even in the morning.
Well, let's see, parking fees.
Yes. I think we start here.
Start at 20.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a significant increase.
we're making a
It's
fair
a
amount of
significant
changes.
Increase for the morning people, but for the people who are coming for the day,
it's $5 more. We were charging 15.
And
but on the
last
weekends,
holidays and
we were
we
charging
charging
30.
30.
So on the weekends is where,
But here's the thing with beaches, and again, I can't give you the data because I don't have it in my head. The challenge with beach revenue is that you don't know which day it's gonna rain.
Yeah.
You know, every calendar, the holiday may be a Tuesday this year and a Saturday next year. 2 summers ago, we had like 50 rain days. It was ridiculous.
Right,
We lost, you know, we had to dip into the reserve to offset resources, so, you know.
so that's a good question. What if we have a rainy summer? Does this, by evening this out, I guess we have a pretty big cushion.
So the thing is, when you look at this number, last year, we made about $165,000 in season passes. If you were to take your recommendation of going to, let's say, 200 for a non-resident pass
Yeah.
from the 150. And we sold the same amount of passes, but you can see in green that 425, that would be the cap number you talked about setting. We make $194,000. That's half of our operating budget. And when we're closed, like our beach attendants, the way we manage it, Steve will say, you know, you're supposed to be there at 7:30 to check the lot. You go for 2 hours. Once we can keep them because we don't want to lose them for hiring, but they go check the bathrooms, they walk the lot, they clean up stuff from the night before. And so, but where my point was with that is we do our responsibilities, but then we save 6 hours because they're not there for the rest of their shift. So on rainy days, we're saving operational expenses.
Okay.
So, it's not always a wash, but it's something we consider, going throughout. And again, if you're driving more people to buy season passes, then,
That's money up front.
yeah, it's money
Yeah,
up
is
front.
somebody at Fort Williams? You say they're,
No, you just have to pay, and that was like a 3-year conversation, maybe longer.
but is there a priority given to Cape
You
residents?
have to, they don't have to pay, and everybody else has to pay.
And what's the rate?
I honestly don't remember.
I was able to think of food for a soccer.
Oh,
Yeah, you can probably do
And it
that.
didn't work, and I.
Well, same thing, when I volunteered at Beach to Beacon, I got a big old ticket because they told us we didn't have to pay, we didn't have to pay. So. Am I hearing 200 for a season pass? Yes?
No.
No, seem too high?
Too
What would you propose?
No,
I propose, what did we,
well,
We
let's
have,
look
we were at
into-
150, I think we heard between 180 and 200, or
I think 175, a $25 increase.
So the 109.
that's for the non-resident.
So in Biddeford,
non-resident,
And
non-resident.
get the data.
it's 245,
For,
Is it better
for a season pass?
season pass
non-resident?
permit, non-resident, 245. So then Kennybunk, it's 100. In Old Orchard Beach, it looks like it's either 150 or 300.
So that's probably resident, non-resident.
Yeah.
No, maybe, I don't know.
So again, our close,
But we have looked at all of this and vetted it out.
we have or we haven't.
We have.
So, do we wanna, I'm sensing some split, do we wanna take a vote? On season pass? Or do we? How strongly do people feel about going? We know we wanna go higher.
You can put any number you want because it happens at town hall, so it's not like we gotta make cash. So if it's 175, if it's 200, it's, you know, the number is
Mhm.
what you think is fair versus handling it. Because we're not selling them at the booth, so.
Do you need a recommendation? You want a comprehensive,
On resident access. Recommendation of increasing it to $50, to $200 for non-residents. Is at least maybe deferring non-residents a little bit more?
I think a $25 increase and a limit is good comparative data to compare next year at this point to see if it needs to go up again. I mean, $25 increase on anything is,
But on something that was too low to begin with, I don't know. I
But
just
I-
look at the towns next to us.
I just think that while the comparison is important, that kind of jump, I don't know, I think that for anything, the gradual increase, see what the response is, what are our numbers,
For non-residents.
right? I like all,
Yeah.
all from all towns. No, I understand the focus.
Well, old
completely.
people
I would
get-
say in Pine Point, that is the point of contention, and I'm getting, and that's, I almost wanted to ask about parking down there, but. You know, they are really concerned about non-resident parking and non-resident issues, and I think people from, you know, people who aren't familiar with the area are coming in and being disrespectful to the whole area within itself.
Yeah.
Especially with dogs and things like that.
yeah, and parking on the sides, on the streets.
They're having
with the
real,
not supposed to be
I've been
parked.
tasked with that.
I would say, and it got worse last year.
Yes,
it's getting increasingly worse. Last year was very blatant.
Well, I think we wanna start regulating the co-op parking lot too, but that's not this committee. right,
No,
Donna?
we went over that back and forth.
Seniors any senior gets a $1 pass or resident seniors?
Only resident seniors get a $no pass.
Sorry, that I'm looking at the
Mhm.
2025.
Yeah.
Okay, only resident seniors.
Yeah.
So that's a question. Does any non-resident regardless of age pays a non-resident pass
There's only senior passes for free.
for
residents.
residents?
If a senior wants a non-resident pass, they're paying that whatever
Yeah, okay.
1,200
That's
is.
that, okay.
I prefer the gradual increase myself. Like the attention you're giving increases, it causes a lot of pushback, a lot of discomfort. You can always go back. Yeah. That would be,
Is this something?
that would be,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Do you?
that's it's a big increase.
Okay, I'm gonna propose 180 because it's in between 175 and 200. You don't have to deal with $5. And I kind of hear the same thing. Do we want to be going through this process every year? What would your recommendation be, Todd?
I could be persuaded either way. The nice thing about a 180 is that if you're changing the day fee to 20 across the board, especially for the morning goers.
Yeah,
Um,
$20.
I'm trying to think about how to keep pressure off of council too, with the whole group, is that you're gonna come surf 7 times. 8 times, 9 times, buy a pass. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then those are gonna go up front quick. And then everybody's then having to buy the day pass. So. You know, they're gonna, as soon as those go for sale, they're gonna go. So, I don't know, I mean. I think either one is justifiable.
Okay. Majority rules. We're gonna take a vote. 175, going once, going twice. 3, 180.
I'll do that one because it's just easier for cash purposes. That's fine.
Well, it's at town hall.
Well,
They're gonna be.
They have.
town
that.
hall,
Oh, I thought that was.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
All right.
doesn't make any.
But it does, yes, and most people are gonna use a credit card anyway, so it probably doesn't matter, but it's nice.
Yeah.
I'll add mine to 180.
Okay, are those who voted in a minority okay if we propose 180? Okay. That would be our recommendation, Todd.
And then limiting it to how many passes sold.
I think we said equivalent to this year, which was 436, so start with 425, whatever.
Yeah, I put a lower number than you sold this year, it was 436, I put 425 just as a simple benchmarking number.
Let's make it 420 and then we'll all be zeros at all the numbers.
There you go.
Perfect.
Just kidding, whatever, I
That's,
don't
that's
care,
fine.
I don't
Again,
care.
I just think having that benchmarking number, that's something that shows we're giving away less just to keep a resident priority. Just a good message for residents.
Okay,
It's a premium.
Is it always the non-resident, the number equal pretty much to 436 people?
No, this,
Fine.
no, when we raised from $30, from 15 and 20 to 30. We sold like 50 more non-resident passes than past years. Cause they're like, it makes sense to buy a pass now.
Yeah.
I don't need, yeah, so.
So let's leave it at the low level and let them, if they want to go that bad, then they'll have to pay $20 or more.
So did you decide which number did you pick?
What?
420
is it
sounded
still 425?
425 is good, I was just
That's not
sort of
good.
speaking
Yeah.
tongue in cheek.
425.
Go with your number, it's easy.
That's your number.
No, Todd's number was 425.
Yeah, I know.
So are we, does that address the beach fee? and what we can
So there's 2
present it?
things, you guys were split on the senior pass.
Oh, yeah,
Again, personally, I think you. I don't know, it's a nice thing for seniors to stay at 0.
Hmm.
You know,
With all the other increases in town.
Yeah.
I'm for keeping it at 0.
yeah,
$1 is nice. It's not gonna break us.
so one thing I'm saying this, to put this out to the universe, and I've told my staff. When you guys look at the data, when we put it in the spreadsheet, or when they put it in the spreadsheet next year. I'm gonna ask town hall and my staff to put $1 in the column Because when you do a Google sheet, you can't divide by 0 to see how many, so you're counting million passes, so
Yeah.
at least if we put a dollar in, we will zero it out at the end of the season.
Yeah,
That way we can divide by 1 to get an accurate number without having to scroll through 300 Google Sheets.
Yeah.
And then there was 2 other things, Trish, that you guys were the school bus rate.
yeah,
You had proposed going to 50 from 45.
yeah. There was a split on that. How do people feel about that?
What was the split? Some wanted to keep it
Some want to
45.
keep it as is, and
I
some
think
want-
it should go up.
Where are the buses coming from for the most part?
Town camps, you know. But again, if you got 40 kids on a bus and it's another $5,
Yeah, you're like,
Mhm.
you know. So it's not, and we haven't, I can't tell you if we've ever gone up on that since I've been here. So. I'm sure they're charging more to go.
so is everyone okay with the $50 bus fee?
Mhm.
Okay,
And then this last one is a recommendation from staff that wasn't on your analysis, but they are recommending allowing no RVs in any of the parking lots. So presently, they don't allow RVs at Higgins Beach
Mhm.
because they can't make those turns. We have allowed them at Ferry and at Pine Point. But we are seeing, again, increased problems with RVs being in there early. And then we have to go shoo them out, or they've set up and gone to the beach and you can't find them. We've, we've talked about, there are a lot of compact RVs. If you drive in a Volkswagen Vanagon or a Mercedes and it fits in the spot, then you can park. But if you're pulling in something with a trailer and a truck or a big 30-footer, it's tough to park them. It's tight in the parking lot once the parking lot is full.
yeah,
So that is a staff recommendation from the beach staff too. And that if that was accepted by you and then council, obviously, that would then be our part of our educational outreach to Bailey's and all the campgrounds and OLB in the off season, just saying, hey, we're not that layover spot for you.
No, Bucky's.
how do people feel about that?
I'm
And
good
it's
with
coming from your staff, so
Absolutely.
we're okay.
Okay. So for recommendations, we have 5:30 to 5:30. $20 flat, residents are gonna stay at 40. Senior pass is staying at 0. With the housekeeping caveat of $1 just for that. You went 180 on. Non-resident season pass. And $50 bus fee.
Yeah.
And proposing no RVs in the 3 beach. Or 4 if you count the overflow municipal lots.
Yeah.
We agreed on non-residents at 40, stay. Or did we?
No,
raise it to
residents.
50? Resident
Resident was
Resident.
40. Yeah.
is 40, okay.
20 still feels too low for the day. But it's hard to ask someone to pay 30 at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
So it's give and take.
it's not perfect, nothing ever is.
Yeah.
If I
But are we
go-
gonna get more day people?
And
I
the
don't
bottom
know.
line, though, if you keep it in at 20, those numbers, income is much higher if we retain the same amount of attendance.
And servers show up whether it rains or not,
Yeah.
usually.
Got it.
Don't do a surf. Yeah, exactly. All right, so is everyone okay with that recommendation? So that's what we needed. I think the next thing related to that, Todd, was you can give us an update on Bird Park.
Yep,
Who-
so,
who
sorry.
Sends this to, or who presents this to the town council?
It's for place checks.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think that based on the timeline that I think this process is gonna go. The application process closes the 29th of this month. And then you're probably gonna get one set of interviews before Christmas. I would assume. And then a second one, maybe after New Year's.
So me,
Yeah, I was gonna
So,
say,
so Karen,
me,
yeah,
Karen and having someone from
Yeah.
the committee
Probably try.
being present,
that would make sense.
and
Um,
to field any questions.
how do we get it on the agenda?
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, literally, we just, tomorrow, Todd will email them and say
Yep.
this is in line to be on the next agenda and
Yep.
put it on there.
And so, Trish, what I'll do is tomorrow
Yeah, I
morning,
noticed, I'm sorry, I didn't have a chance to.
that's fine. I will send you an email, Trish, with these
Summary,
community service recommendations. And then if you would just take those and put it in a quick email to say, hey, we approve, on our meeting, blah, 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 just as officially comes from you, but I'll give you the data.
and tell me who I need to send it to.
And then you can send it to me and CC Karen.
Okay,
And then that way it's in, I'll go to Tom Hall and say, okay, this is what happened last night. Karen will bring it up in as one of her notes, probably, that's what you usually have done, right? At your committee announcement at the end.
So, yeah, next week, like, we have council comments.
Yes.
So what I'll say is coming hopefully in the next month will be new beach fees.
To start that process, because again, it's.
Yeah.
okay.
Whether
Just
they have.
Tell me
you-
exactly what I need.
Yeah, Yep.
Okay, that's fine. And you were gonna talk about her part.
So Herd
There's a lot
Park,
going on now.
there's a lot going on right now. Again, we had the entire project built out for, 2 budgets before COVID. And then we went with the master plan route, and so this time we've picked out the, safety and operational features for the park, and so they were funded during this last budget. So presently, when you pull in to Herd Park, along King Street, you will see an opening. That'll be the new exit. Their pad is there, the conduit wire is getting done the first week, and conduits are there, but the wires will get installed, and then the gate system will be put in. That gate will not have an arm until the spring, because people will break it and it just turns into. Plus, we want to have an educational campaign of how it's gonna work. That exit gate will work just like it does at Higgins Beach. When it's down and you pull up, it'll always let you out. We'll have big letters, pull up to open. Don't pull back, dummy. It's powered.
Yeah.
We've had it break at least 3 or 4 times this summer because somebody goes and peels it back. When it says right on it, pull up, it will open. What's different on the existing entrance exit on Avenue 5, that'll be a 20-foot gate. And that pad is in, conduits laid across. And that will have, both gates will have sensors. When you pull up, it knows you're there. The ticket booth has been relocated, so now it's turned sideways, so when our staff is standing there, the cars are pulling in right next to them. And the reason why we're leaving that as a full 20-foot opening is that when we repaint that parking lot in the spring, the left side near the building will be a pay lane. The right side will be a pass lane. So when we have staff operations, we will have somebody in line now on Avenue 5 asking people. You pass, you're just gonna go to the left. When you're to the right, when you get up there, are you paying? Yep, go to the left. On busy days, when they go through that exercise, oh, I'm paying. You paying with cash or credit card? You know what? Paying cash, go in the pass lane, and the way the parking lot's set up, we can bring like 20 cars down the road into the parking lot to be able to handle that now. So it'll help people get off of Avenue 5, ultimately affect the stop line. Nice thing about having the building and the gate there is we will now have power for the first time in one of our ticket booths. So we can have radios now that charge, they can have a fridge to keep water. And so we'll be able to then, Steve Kramer and I and Dana, who's our parks supervisor for the summer, have talked about operation plans. So they're gonna work on this winter a lot map and break it out by sections. So we will have one person collecting fees, one person managing the line, and on busy days, one person in the lot. So if I'm in the lot and Art's on collecting fees and Karen's in line, we can say, hey, I've got a parking space in section C. Send the cars down to me. And so we can now do that on a regular basis. In the past, with the overflow lot, we've jammed everybody up on King Street. So what can happen now where the location of the exit is people can come in, get vetted with their pass or pay the ticket booth. And then they can be sent to the overflow lot through the parking lot now. So they'll have their ticket and somebody will be meeting them to accept them to put them in the overflow lot. So we don't have multiple things going on. Public Works did a great job. They leveled out on, King Street. And so now the exit is leveled. They had to move a dry well to do that. And then when you're going by, you see the exit, you see a telephone pole. That next section behind the pole to the stop sign is the new bus trolley stop. So that'll get signage, that'll get community outreach. There will be from the opening of the overflow. Across the front of the stop sign, there'll be a crosswalk painted, so people coming from the overflow. Can hit the crosswalk and then walk down the new pathway. All the way to the new entrance. At the entrance, there'll be new sign, yield for crosswalk. And there'll be a crosswalk painted in front of that entrance, and that's why we'll also have an attendant there saying, hold the cars, let the people go across. The remainder of the split rail fence was budgeted in this new budget. That's already scheduled with Ron Forest to happen in April, so the rest of that fence will get replaced, all the broken stuff. When they do this section on the corner that's got the chain, the Public Works access road. In the overflow, we installed a green gate this year that's lockable and a little more rugged. We'll install a new one of those. And to the right of it, they will install a pedestrian opening in the fence. So the goal is for them to walk down the pathway, go across the crosswalk, and now walk down the access road to the beach. And when they get to the end, they will take a right to go to the bathhouse or get to one of the other entrances using the boardwalk. Or they can go straight down the access road to the beach. But our goal is to get everybody from the neighborhoods, overflow, and bus and trolley walking down the pathway and not down the middle of the parking lot. Regardless if they change the painting pattern or not, that'll be for the next person to decide whether they take that on or just repaint what's there, but add directional aerials, which we've laid out. We will be adding a stop sign inside the lot. And we will be taking a couple spots to create a drop-off area, because presently now cars come down and drop you off on the corner, which is scary. And so now people will be educated to come in, the attendants will be right there in the booth. Roger can pull up, say, I'm just dropping my grandkids off to go to the beach. They will go straight ahead, pull a loop. There'll be 2 spots designated as drop-off right behind the ticket booth, so they'll see if you leave, and then they'll go and exit. But that'll help. Those are a lot of the neighborhood problems that have been identified, so that'll solve that. It'll help increase flow of traffic. And then, ultimately, we'll get the parking lot crack sealed and seal coated, and then whatever design for painting will probably be the same, goes back. That parking lot is going to be due for an overlay, so seal coating, which we budgeted for, will give us some time if the project fails, but, in the budget for this year's CIP, whether it makes the run or not, was to start talking about the new bathhouse.
That's what I want.
Yeah, so 2 things that are happening right now. Next week, Tom and I are meeting with our tenants from Members Eats to discuss next year's lease or what we do with that spot. We have a lot of investment to make in that building. And I'm not sure if that's the right choice to do, based on if we gotta spend $10,000 in renovations of a kitchen that we're gonna hopefully knock down at some point. So we have to have that discussion. We're starting those next week. That'll be left for the new person, he or she, to finish up. But ultimately, the goal, if the budget ever passed for the project, would be to demo the existing bathhouse, because part of it's in the frontal dune, so eliminates what we can or can't do. Build some sort of pavilion or pergola, which you could have picnic tables so people could get out of the sun. And then have the water's already there, have 3 or 4 shower trees at that end of, so when people come off the beach, they can shower and then go to their cars. And bring a new bathhouse closer to the ticket booth out of the dunes. And the design we got 5 years ago, which can be renovated and remodeled, but it was having in the backside traditional multi-stall bathrooms. And in the front, having 6 to 8 unisex, gender neutral bathrooms where anybody could go in, changing stations, just that sort of stuff. So we had some safe space in the front. And then the goal, it wouldn't be a big add-on, but would to have a single garage bay. So we could put handicap wheelchairs in there, which has been a big ask. And so that's kind of the project to take down the road, and either in this CIP or the next one. In this budget, or in the last budget, we had ADA access money, which I haven't all spent. And I'm meeting with Steve Kramer, the beach manager, next week. But we did the nice ramp with the flow with a ramp. The other one is starting to get tired. That's a connect one. Steve has looked at what Saco and OB and everyone else does for the rollout beat ramps, so I think we'll be able to afford a new one of those for next season. And the nice thing about those, they're light. Staff could take them and shake them out and get rid of the sand. These other ones have to be moved by a piece of, they're heavy. So just trying to improve some of the access on that side of the beach. And then the last thing that I just gotta get approval for, I'm done. Along the fence, the new fence along Avenue 5. The fence and that walkway is really high up under the fence because it went in afterwards. And we gotta put a piece of, it's called slip form. It's curbing, but it's one, looks like Play-Doh. When they pour it, they're mixing the concrete and the machine is pulling it out like Play-Doh. But we're gonna put that like a foot off the fence, so that material that's up on there has a place to stop. Plus cars won't pull up and hit the fence. And it'll give us something to plow against too, and it'll look cleaner. It won't be, move sand. And then what we're also going to, at the front of the parking lot, where's there 8 ADA handicap parking spots. We'll also put a piece of slip form there, which will then, what happens is cars hit those blocks. And then we're always pulling them back, so we'll create a walkway in front of that too, for people to go between the two pathways safely. And again, not go into the parking lot, so it just kind of connects all the safety things that we've done, so all that's in motion. It'll all be ready for spring, summer,
That's great.
so,
I got a question.
yeah.
You talk about people. You have accommodations to let people drop their kids off.
Yep.
At a parking place, and you have many stops, I hope, because if everybody leaves on a rush because of rain or something, you're gonna cause one heck of a. If there's a lot of people dropping off kids coming to pick them up, where are they gonna go and where are you gonna pick them up?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that. I think, I don't think we have the same problem as we do at Higgins. Her,
Because at the end of the day, or
Yeah.
whenever it happens, then you can't put enough cars
Yeah.
parked there to load or
I mean,
unload.
the first time I go to pick up my teenager at Hurd and I'm waiting in a line, I'm gonna say, hey, JD. Walk to Avenue 4, I'll meet you over there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's gonna happen to me once.
yeah.
So. Yeah. But yeah, so those are all the program updates that are there.
That sounds good.
Yeah, no, it deals with all the things that we can afford to do for the next, which are all big ticket items. Overlay in the parking lot and a new bathhouse, but it's your biggest beach, it's your biggest revenue maker. It's seeing that, consistent pressure like the other beaches are. And we had to put 6 porta potties there this year because the infrastructure was breaking. We just couldn't keep up with the volume. So it's a need. And it needs to be designed to handle that volume and so.
And one of the other items that you said, suggested were FY 26 capital projects. Are there others that you want to give us an update on? That we should
I
be
don't have
aware
them
of?
all. That's the biggest one.
From the,
You know.
are they from the master plan? From,
Again, the parks and facilities one, I'm gonna say this in as politically of a way as I can. Is that until the school decides what location they're choosing for the school, everything else is on hold. It's, every time we say we're gonna move a tennis court, well, that's a potential school site, or we're gonna add a pickleball court here, oh, that's a potential school site. This town needs to pick a site. To then go through the school process, however long that takes, but it lets everything else go. I mean, we renovated 4 tennis courts, that's now not a school site because the wetlands too much. With the amount of money I spent with a little more, we should have put 5 courts and 8 pickleball courts, but because we couldn't. We can't do C unless we do A, and then B follows and you get to C, and so. I think that's gonna be a handicap for us. Until we get a school, not a school approved, but a site that this is the site we're going to use. However long it takes to get the school approved, that site just needs to be identified. So, yeah, but we're still, things in the master plan, I think we're gonna have to make choices around. More space is definitely needed. You may have to choose, okay, you put turf at Black Point and throw lights to build capacity. Versus building a new facility, those are the choices you're gonna have to make.
Well, you're gonna make a bang before you leave.
Yeah, it's all in the master plan, you have those options, It's just prioritizing and finding funding. You know, and again, we had this discussion at Parks and Conservation Land Board this morning regarding parcels that may come up that could be conserve land, but also could put a ball field and have multiple people supporting it. So, we just have to identify priorities and then be ready to react when the opportunity comes. Because land is selling fast and furious. And now that the council has said, okay, we're gonna get through the school process first. That's great. Now everything else has consequence, but you can figure that out, you know, and identify what needs to happen for the next one to happen. So the school site is the number one thing to make anything else happen.
Is somebody working on that, the ad hoc committee?
The school board too, right, is starting or started?
Yeah, the second round of this. Building steering advisory committee. That is rushing through the process and have a proposal in June.
Seems a lot.
But not be ready to vote in June, right?
It's for the November, the goal is the November ballot.
And so you're a year away from, you know, you may know earlier in the process if they're gonna be done in June, a site, which, you know, which can be very helpful. You know,
Mhm.
the only
So-
way it won't be helpful is if the money is tied up in the bond to buy the site.
So that's probably a good segue into the community center, which is all falling behind the school. Basically, in essence, the community center is not happening, so the school happening.
Would you say that's accurate? I mean, it sounds
I
like,
mean,
Well,
I
they're
believe that
afraid
is the
of the future,
consensus
right?
of the council. I'm discouraged because we have a finished product that is ready to be moved on. But no one feels comfortable moving on because the school situation is so bad.
Is it just that they think the school needs to take priority in terms of the resolution, or is it the concern Todd was just saying that they're afraid that a community center would take a spot, like land wise,
Yeah.
that the school would take?
Now, it's just the school needs to be solved.
And it's
And
not,
it's a huge capital improvement. I think they're concerned about, you know. Very expensive. And so that's where, you know, we had the finance committee meeting. We ran through the scenarios,
Right,
Art was
that's right.
there. I mean, I appreciated that scenario and running through the exercise. It was, in my opinion, very unrealistic because they thought a new school proposal would be 100 million. And I don't see any solution to move forward with that.
I think it'd be higher.
I don't know how it could
well, the last one was 160, so you have to
right.
cut
And so I think
60 million.
like,
from
and
it.
so that's where it was like, we ran through the whole process of. And, you know, John Anderson, Tom Hall, we all walked out like, oh, the town can afford a school and a community center. I'm like, yeah, but you just ran numbers on $100 million school. And I didn't feel like that was very.
Why did they do
accurate.
that?
Tom Hall said because he felt like that was a number that residents were comfortable with. And so I was like, so anyway, I wanted to speak to that because like, I felt like the finance committee meeting was a little misleading about. I mean, maybe we're financially healthy and able to take on that debt, but I don't think we would run the best numbers. They're not gonna do anything. I feel like until a school solution is gonna happen. I think my concern is we're rushing the process again. And we might not come up with a solution, and now here we have a community center that's been sitting on it.
And the residents again and again say they want a community center.
Well, I think.
Are we gonna survey
unfortunately-
them again in a year?
But I feel like that's where I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm in the minority. So we're moving forward with the next round of the school, but I feel like if this next round fails, we then have to say, we're done. Like, you can't come up with a solution. I mean, that's what I'm gonna be saying. Is like, we have a solution for the community center, a very nice product.
And so they're worried if we put the community center on in June, that people would not then feel like, okay, we've taken on too much. We are not going to vote for the school in 6
They
months
don't
or
want it to be
whatever.
a competition. They don't, you know, they don't want people to just say no because we just spent all this money on the community center.
but that's so foolhardy, because the costs are gonna keep going. And
And then all the work done to get the data really old by the time.
As
able
well
to do a
model,
community
yeah.
center and the model and everything else.
So is there a role at all for this committee?
I think what, I mean, I think what I just said, I feel like our biggest, the best next step, unfortunately, that we have at this point, I mean, we're not, the election is come and gone, so it's gone, is to watch the next round of school play out. And if it is unsuccessful, that's when we have to come back up and be like, you know, we've been through 2 years of unsuccessful school proposals. And
We know the community wants this.
I see how they respond.
I think one other thing you guys could advocate for, or at least put it in their ear, and this is where Karen is very helpful. Someone needs to make mention, if I was here, I would, that a lot of people want both.
Mhm.
And so a lot, you know, when the community center committee went through and did their thing, they wanted to be close to a school campus. So kids could walk and have it, you know, walk over to do swim lessons or after school or for teens. And so, I would just advocate in this next school board group that you decide how many acres you need minimum for a school. And then you add a certain amount of acres on as we need, making the number up, 15 for a school, and we need 5 for a community center. Because if you could do both and share infrastructure and parking and some of the things that we looked at in our model, then at least these community center supporters would be like, okay, we are one step closer. You know, and this is something that the Downs has done well, right? When they put in a building, they put infrastructure in for the next thing. When the next thing comes, depending on when it's funded, and so people will know there is the potential there versus having to go find a whole nother piece of property or do something. I think it would just help you in your planning processes. You know, when you do go to bring this back up, now you can say, we have 5 acres, we have 6 acres, and we have 300 parking spots available after 4 o'clock. Data pieces that we work through on the committee, you have some finites, which we didn't have before.
So that's an interesting thought, and I was just thinking back, I was on the committee when the Thomas Memorial Library was going through. One of the things we looked at, there are some communities that actually built libraries attached to their high schools when they were building new schools for that very reason. So if there's a brand new process under for the schools, this is probably left field thinking. But to Todd's point, can we insert that suggestion that maybe we look for a spot that can do both?
Yeah, so we have a joint meeting with the school. I have no idea where they are in the process, but I'm happy to ask where, what everything's happening, what they're looking for. What they're thinking.
Because it's a cost saving.
Harry, that's.
We had a meeting with Dana, Todd, what's his last name? Yeah, who was there? You,
Yeah.
me, to talk about if you find a site, is there room for us? Because there's all these cost savings. Is Dana still,
No.
who,
Oh,
is
I
there
think I
someone?
was there. That was a while ago.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Dana was
yeah.
Dana was the previous board, not this school board one that just finished the summer. He was two committees.
It was a while ago.
But I think that because Todd, can you be more articulate than I can about, the savings that
try.
we were talking about sharing and we were talking about water going in and we were
Yeah,
gonna,
I think. Again. It was a committee. Yeah, I'm trying to be political here. It was a committee that had the priority as the school. And that's their right. You know what I mean? And so I think that. If we present it as if the opportunity arises.
Yeah.
You know, they were worried about having to say, okay, we're not gonna get $1 million for the 15 acres we need. How are we gonna get 1.5 for another 6-7 acres? You know what I mean? So it was a
Yeah.
real concern on theirs. But long-term vision, you save money on build out, and that's what the taxpayers wanna see. Yes, we may be spending an extra, you know, $500,000 now to buy 6 more acres on this parcel. But when we build this out, we're gonna save $300,000 on infrastructure. And you got less busing, and I mean, it saves you money in the long run. Plus, every year we wait, the prices aren't going down.
so
So,
it's not left field. I think we've tried it and,
So
Well, I wonder
if it's a
we garner more
concept,
support though for the school, if people community center, people are like, oh, I
Right.
support the school because I know they want to put a community center
Right,
there.
that's what I'm
next."
wondering, is there a
It should be
different
positive.
messaging now that we can do on this concept? And how do we approach that?
I mean, I guess I have to see where the committee is. They just hired a consultant, is my understanding.
Again.
Maybe they'll do another survey.
Maybe that's
Yes.
all our money.
Let me sign that
Yes.
petition. I have no idea how much it's gonna cost me. I'm just gonna complain that my taxes are going up.
So I guess all I can do is just bring this up at that meeting, and just say, I don't know where you are in the process, but you know.
The
want-
library also, I think, would like to be a part of the general conversation. I mean, that was something that you brought up, as a facilities plan for the town. Could it benefit the school, the library, the community center? But again, to Todd's point, there's, as is their job, hyper-focused on school.
But
But
it's sort of like, it's sort of that whole adage, like, if you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna get the same result.
If I was the
So-
Wizard of Oz.
Mhm.
And I had the ultimate say, which I absolutely do not. I would find a parcel that could fit a school.
Yeah.
Share parking.
Yeah.
I would build a brand new community center library jointed.
Yep.
Administrative, all the spaces, everything we need in the middle, library, community center.
Yeah.
And I would turn the existing library into childcare or daycare, which the town so desperately needs.
Yeah.
And you hit everything, everybody can vote on one thing.
Yeah.
Or if it's a tiered master plan and you build your funding out over 20 years, at least you know what. That's the only way I think anything's gonna pass here, if everybody gets something.
right, and that,
So how do we do that?
it's a town council. The town council is the joint committee. You know, like to combine the school, the community center and the library.
But
Well,
that-
okay, yes, we have liaisons to the school board advisory committee. So what you would want to do is probably talk to those liaisons,
The town council
the
does?
town council. So we
Who
have,
is that?
Like, how you're really-
yes, like they have, yes, like April Sider is one of the liaisons. It was Nick McGee mixed on. I do not know who the new liaison would be. It's not gonna be me. And so that is specifically their job, is to represent the interest. So I think having this conversation at a minimum, I can bring it up at the workshop, I can talk to April and be like, this is a serious conversation. I want you to relay also, because I think we want the school to pass, and we're trying to give you a suggestion of, maybe this will help it pass more. And so I
And even
think
the library,
the
that's
liaisons
a
are
whole separate demographic.
but they don't always do what you want.
But why
I mean,
does it-
really, it's you showing up, sending an email to that committee, planting the seed. I mean, I can do it as well.
But it seems that, like, we don't wanna wait until we see what their school plan is, right?
Right.
I mean, if there's already this community services or community center plan. If, as they're forming this ad hoc committee for the school, before they start meeting, they hear, hey, you can't see this whole thing they already figured out? You can use some of that to get this, and that ultimately is gonna save the taxpayers money, and
Right.
it could be messaged that way. It's more inclined to pass in all respects.
And shouldn't that be a conversation, not to the liaison, but for the whole town council should be managing the facilities? I just don't think it should be, like, it should be a bigger discussion.
Well, I think that's what the finance committee meeting was, to kind of clarify what our priorities were, but I already felt like going in there, we knew what our priorities were.
Yeah, and that wasn't a plan. This is a plan.
Right.
There's a
I
difference.
just, there's not a lot of time. I don't know what they can produce in 6 months, find a location. And I just, I think that's my ignorance to the process, I'm not gonna be rude, it seems like such a short window. To do all this, and
When are-
I do have concerns that we will again be shut off, because our priority is the school, so we're not thinking about getting extra land, we're just thinking about what's best for that.
When are liaison assignments?
Oh, for like the new council? So like, we elect a new chair next week, and then probably in December,
Follow.
Well, she'll make all the.
So we need the school building committee liaison. And then do we want to, Todd's point? Is there a library liaison?
So the library
Bill
chair, I
Donovan.
can't think of her name at the moment, she reached out to me after the last financing meeting saying she wanted to meet with community service or the ad hoc or somebody to talk about. Now that we had the plan developed and what their plan was and things that, how they align. But when you talk about 85 million and another 13 million, I mean. That's a lot, the number just keeps getting bigger, and so how do we take away the competition? For the
Yeah.
I
plan?
spoke very, very clearly. Apologize, we have a library, it's just not a priority. We don't have a community center. My friend yesterday told me that his daughter's kindergarten class now has 21 kids in it. And that to me is a crisis. So that's kind of where it's at, but
Okay, so we need to connect with the local school. It would be simpler if we just did it with the school.
Yeah.
So we need a name. of her.
The ad hoc committee that's doing the school, is it just the ad hoc committee, school people?
it's residents,
No.
so they took,
Right, okay.
yeah, they took some people from the first round, brought them to the second round, and then there's all the staff liaisons.
Would it be to our advantage to have somebody from communities, services on that ad hoc committee? As well as, transportation people or something?
It's
to
already
help-
formed and they're already meeting.
But the meetings are public, so you
Yeah,
can
so
go
anyone
and.
can attend. I definitely think attending, would be good. I just,
I
they
think,
are on a school mission. It's gonna be very hard, I think, to get through.
I think once they get the liaisons done, and I think once they get a chair of that committee, the civilian, if you will, the citizens, that's the chair of that committee. I think those are the people you sit down with as leadership of this group, just to say, listen, we are not trying to be competition. We are trying to create opportunities to advance all things which we support. We're not saying we don't want a school. We have a mission and a charge, so when the opportunity arises in your process, we would love the opportunity to just talk on it. Or please keep this in mind, or, you gotta spoon feed because, this doesn't work. Because, point, they are there for their task. It's not to develop a community center or find land for a library. Their task, I think, is gonna be hard enough, but I don't think you or I, whoever's sitting in my chair, would be doing their job if we weren't advocating for that. And when people come to a problem with me, I'm like, well, what's your solution? So if we can give them solutions, we're not just dictating a problem that we all know we have. Give them something to think about.
Okay, so Karen, you'll give us an update on connections. We'll try to open lines of communication.
Anyway,
What is I'm sorry, you said the liaison consent.
The appointment of the new liaison?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
it's usually pretty quick.
Yeah. we'll
I just
have-
wanted to make sure it wasn't like we're at our January meeting and we're like, don't have those names yet,
Right.
so, yeah. Cause I feel like letting them get too far through the process without us
I think
attacking,
you're-
I mean.
I
touching
do,
base with
no, and I
them.
think Amanda's right, like we want to get on this because they are moving very quickly.
Yeah.
They have a very quick deadline. And
Which is what, June?
The June ballot.
No.
they
Why
want,
is it June?
they have to have a solution for June for us to evaluate, and then I think in August is when we decide if it's gonna be on the ballot.
Okay, so we have a plan on that.
And if it's not in August, then could we say, okay, we've given you, let's put ours on the ballot in November?
I think that's the conversation that'll happen in June, is if they come or they're not prepared. I think that's when we sit there and I fight very hardly to say, they're not ready, they're not ready, they're not.
And that'll be difficult to get a community center on the ballot for November with that late. The deadline.
You won't get it on the
No,
ballot.
no, it might be.
We don't
the
have enough
following
time to
year,
advertise,
After
but,
that.
yeah.
to revamp it.
Hmm.
But you can find out where your place is at the table. though.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. I think those were the only things.
That was it, really.
A couple other administrative things, the Tom Hall's invitation. I think he said pass it on to any meeting members.
Yes, I
If
know.
anyone wants to go to that next week, you said you could go. I can't go. I have a theater. But anyone who wants to go, so you have all of that. Todd, so quickly, you gave us an update, so we don't know what's gonna happen.
No, the only thing we do know is today, Tom and Liam, Nicole Hall, our operations manager, was named interim director in the timeframe that the process is going on. She's those who don't know Nicole, she's awesome. She's kind of been my right hand and she's incorporating all the stuff because she does a lot of the admin and the back stuff. So very happy for her that she accepted that. And yeah, my last day is Friday next week. And wrapping up tonight's my last run of committees. We had Parks and Conservation Land Board this morning. And then this evening, and then my next week is about just trying to tie up all the loose ends and make sure that staff has what they need moving forward.
So should we confer with Nicole as to whether or not this second Thursday of the month works for the meeting, and should we plan on meeting in January?
I think you set your schedule around your normal calendar. And again, it's one, you know, again, I think that based on the timeline that I think this will go, just with holidays, you know, somebody will be here February 1st, so really it's one January meeting to get through, and then you guys meet in March again.
And Nicole would probably sit in or.
Yeah, that's- yeah.
Somebody else.
Yeah, Nicole and I are meeting next week to talk about meeting responsibilities and who's what where and, you know, if there's any time in the calendar that's good to have be absent, it's December just because of the holidays and everything going on, everybody, so it's kind of a maintained month versus new initiative month, so, it'll go by fast.
So our next meeting would be January 9th. Is that what?
Sort of looks like, yes.
And so I'm suggesting or recommending that we, one of the things we potentially talked about was sort of revisiting what our goals were. Because we had gonna do volunteer and that type of thing, it would obviously make sense to wait to have a person in place.
I would think so, but that puts you into March. You know,
Well, or we could cancel January and meet in February,
We could,
and then February, March, and then go back.
I think the challenge with February though in the past is that
Yes.
everybody's go vacation.
That's the third week of
If we
so if we were meeting the second
She's right.
February.
February 13th is not school vacation.
The week of the 17th, that's vacation, so if we met the 11th, for example, it wouldn't interfere.
When we meet on Thursdays, so I
I'm
mean
sorry.
13th.
Yes, I'm
Third.
sorry, a different.
Or-
meeting.
We could
I've seen
go-
it
we could
before,
go-
but just.
So what, do you ever thought?
only reason why I think you should keep your January meeting, you could have some dialogue around your goals to kind of shake out maybe 5 and you're trying to dial down and he or she, when they're here, and pick that ball up with you. The other reason why I think you keep January, if there's some action that needs to be taken from the school build, any sort of conversation or, you know,
Okay.
the school build committee, just, you know, that's probably kind of right before budget process and the ability to say, hey, we'd like to weigh in on this. I think it makes sense to have that meeting set up now.
Okay.
So
why don't we plan on January 9th and we will review, sort of get caught up on liaisons and school build and sort of take another look at goals and get an update on your replacement.
Yep.
Okay, so before we wrap up, I'd like to officially first thank Rick for his many years of service on the committee. And I think you deserve a round. Any parting words of wisdom?
My parting words of wisdom. To express my appreciation for Todd, actually. I was on this board. And Garth was too, I don't remember if you were then. When the previous director was in charge of community service, Bruce Gulliver. And Bruce took embryonic department through its early development stages. I knew Bruce very well. He coached my son in soccer and my kids grew up together. And he did a phenomenal job, but since Todd has taken over, the degree of professionalism and enlightenment and robust accomplishments has been quite substantial, and I'm impressed and I applaud you for your diligent work. I know Todd has put in many hours, but he brings to this job a level of responsiveness and respect and fun and pleasantness that's rare. So Todd, I thank you very much for your service. We're gonna miss you. It's great for Union, not so great for us, but it's good for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Done a stellar job.
It's
here.
very reflective in the staff.
Yeah.
Yep,
Absolutely.
it's, they do 90% of it, so that's, we're in good hands there. We've got a great staff,
Yeah.
so they'll continue that work and the next person will come and keep moving. They have my number. I'm not moving to, you know, out of the
Do
world.
they have cell service
Almost
in
pick
Union
up
Maine?
They do. You do.
They do, okay.
Yes.
Do they have a McDonald's?
No, I said to my wife, I said, I hit McDonald's at least 5 times a week and there's not one there. I said, I might end up losing 10 pounds, so, you know, it won't be a bad thing. So,
Well, that was my official, that was going to be how I was gonna close, exactly, and you said it eloquently, so we can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
for
Oh, for
all
my
you do.
pleasure.
So
Thank
you also deserve it.
again, Nicole's gonna do a great job, you know, keeping things together. She cares, and then I trust Tom and Liam. We've replaced a lot of department heads and brought some great, powerful people in different spots, so I trust their process and their judgment on that, so yeah, I'm excited to see what happens and go from there, but yeah. Staff, we got a really good staff here.
Thank you, and if you have any great ideas that are happening in Union, you know, you can share them.
Yeah.
right?
We have a rec committee of 4 people, and so it's a little different than, but it's very exciting. They're out of like, you know, there's 2,400 people there year round. The population goes up in the summer because there's 5 lakes. But out of the 995 homes, 250 have changed. And per capita, they're one of the youngest communities in Maine.
It's nice.
And so they're about 50-50 of age group, so it's very exciting. I was at a resiliency meeting. They're really progressive for a small community. They have a lot of old school values. But progressive in thoughts and kind of what they're doing and things that big communities are doing, so I'm pretty impressed and excited to be part of that, so
And shorter commute.
18 minutes. I will save 600
Walk
miles,
sometimes.
600 miles a week. I plan on riding my bike. so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
No McDonald's and your bike? Wow.
yeah,
I know.
yeah, I might lose this double chin by Christmas.
Well, I
We'll see.
hope that you get a non-resident pass for free as a part of the gift.
Yes.
Seriously,
Yeah.
kind of serious,
Yeah.
like, should I call Tom Hall tomorrow and ask him to do that? I think I will.
Yes.
Anyways,
Why
Thank
would
you.
My to-do
Why would
list.
you wanna do that when you've got all
Lakes.
I know you've got the
Stuff up
lakes,
there.
but once in a while you might want to come to the saltwater.
Yeah,
the,
no,
you're
it's,
close to a lot of nice places.
yeah, it's, the coast is beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nice there. This Maine has a lot of great things. We're lucky. as a
Yeah.
state.
We are.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Well, I think that's all.
I just have one quick question.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
other business. Does anyone have other?
Yes,
business?
where is our dog ordinance first reading? Did it go to first reading?
No, so it's still in the planning. I will follow up with that.
What planning is being, oh, planning committee.
Planning committee, it's with the planner.
Oh, yeah, on the Piper too. Are we done
The
with those?
piping plover thing passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that just-
Oh, good.
There was a couple changes, and I think some of those are on your recommendations. The version that passed was they removed the restriction about running and jogging, which was one of your
Yeah,
recommendations. They moved the restriction related building structures, which was one of your recommendation as far as just. You're not gonna go over and tell people don't build sandcastles or stick forts or, you know, and then. Jamie's notes here, remove set time frame for when the ordinance is in effect. The language now states that the ordinance is in effect from April 1st through Labor Day when the nesting activity is exempt as specified. So I think those are all things that you guys discussed and that did get updated and passed. And I will follow up with on the dog piece.
good question. Anybody else have any other questions or concerns?
You have a new member that's coming.
Oh, is it official?
Yes. So
Okay.
I think, but I realized that after we started, that he was appointed at the last one.
Okay.
So we'll get him.
So will Nicole or should we like reach out to him to let him know about the January meeting? How will that happen?
Cody usually or Kirsten usually sends us hey, here's so and so in the contact. I know it went to. I'll have to go back to my email. I know we got one that says, hey, here's the appointee. I didn't know he was appointed. So we may have the contact information and I can get that to you. That was Daryl.
Daryl, right?
The number's still down one person.
Right, so then.
Who's gonna, you're gonna be taking over for Rick, right? 'Cause you're,
Oh, is that how it works?
I don't know.
automatically do
I-
that.
I
you
think
the-
you are already.
I'm the first, well, I got on the committee as a second alternate.
Yeah.
Then when Tom Partridge left, I became the first alternate.
So is.
That's what I'm
So I
saying.
think that's what I
think
still
So we
am.
chatted about that this morning
But
and
then
Karen
now
can
it's
chime in, but
official.
I'll take that. So it's not a
I realize
guarantee.
I couldn't come to the September meeting.
Usually what happens is Karen will reach out and say, have they been an active member? Have they blah, blah, blah? And then
Yes,
the
yes, yes, yes,
appointments
yes.
committee says, you know, they have the right to
Re-up.
elevate, re-up, or add. So that'll be an appointment.
Okay, so Daryl will be an official member and Amanda will reapply as an official member and not as alternate, so then.
Daryl's an alternate.
He's the second alternate. and
I'm going on
Amanda's
this
the first alternate.
So Amanda
As of
then
right now.
can take Rick's spot.
So that's what will happen is
Yep.
the committee will make recommendations to fill the spot, and then typically what the recommendation is.
To move
bump
the
everyone
alternates up, okay,
The only time they don't do that is if someone's not showing up.
right.
I am very naughty.
Yeah.
Okay. So then
Emily's
we'll
not-
have a vacancy for the second alternate, because
Which-
Daryl
that
will
will be-
move up
that
to
will
the
be
first
filled,
one.
And that will be filled in. this other day.
Okay,
That should be.
all right, anything else? If not, we're all set, we're adjourned.
I will make,
Go for it. Sorry, Rick.
don't be
By the way.
disillusioned about the community center. You have done an incredible amount of work on this and you've taken it very far in the process. And in the end, it may not look like what we want it to be at first. Sometimes you just have to take steps to get to where you want to be, which might be an interim facility or it might be separate facilities. But you've made good progress and don't despair. And also, don't become angry at voters for not getting it or for disagreeing with us. In time, we will, but you have to let them know what you're thinking, but we also have to listen to them. And, you know, it will come, but just, it looks disheartening now, but you know, don't underestimate the progress that's been made here. Todd's work has been incredible on this. A lot of us, a lot of other people have worked on it. And I commend you for that. And I just, sometimes it's frustrating, but don't give up. That's it.
How many years have you been on this?
Uh, 6 days. I don't remember what I. don't.
So is the board term a new thing?
Okay, I'll lock up. Thanks, Scott.
Where,
I just looked, I filled a term. I looked in my email, so in January of 23, I was told I
Usually a
was filling
three-year
a term to expire in 2024, so I must have been
It could
filling for
be.
someone
So
else
you were a
because I was
partial
only
term.
on for 2.
gotcha.
And now I'm.
So we already
Whatever.
probably said this, but the board service, where, it's a new thing that
3-year terms.
Three.
three-year
Yeah.
term.
Total of 9 years of
Yeah.
timeout.
Yeah.
That's how.
And
it
is that
gets.
new?
Rick's
No,
been
there's
on
two
for at
threes
least
and
12
one
It's
years.
new for
No,
this
it's
committee.
a long
So
term
other-
out.
The decision.
Todd, how long have you
making
been
committees
here?
like
5?
zoning board and-
Almost 8.
8, well, probably 15.
So like. I'm
Yeah.
also pastoral council at church.
And I will, had a couple of meetings with the
Timeout,
previous.
and then we
Yeah,
have
so you're
to-
apologizing.
I think I'm
Yep.
close to 20.
And that's, so there's a lot of
Yeah, so,
concern.
I think
and
I'm
what
close
trying
to
tell
20.
everyone is like,
20,
Yeah,
you time out, but.
I think you're
you're
close to that
gonna
too.
go
Me too.
one year.
Oh, 1 year?
You.
Flies.
But
No,
don't
just
give it a year.
Come back.
Trish, I'm gonna end, you want to adjourn the meeting and then we
Yes.
can keep talking? I'm still
Oh.
recording.
Yeah, because I remember I thought it was
Riveting
a